weekend was full of real life activities, and I truly enjoyed spending real life time with folk. You know, where you can like touch them and feel them, you know, like real people, hug them. Hugs are real important, and we get to missing that. I don't even think that y'all kids, you know, I ain't got kids yet, but y'all kids that done growing up in this day and age, I don't even know if they gonna know real life, because they just so into the video games and the virtual world. But I'm old and I love real life. Real life brings me joy. So I had a great time this weekend. Friday was Mary J. Blige and Ravinia finally cooperated with the freaking weather. All the black people shows been rained out, so I ain't like none of that. But Mary J. Blige didn't rain to the end, so it was all right. And then Saturday, the Silver Room picnic was just... every person with melanin in the world was there, and it was great. I got to see a whole bunch of people give a whole bunch of real life hugs, and that was awesome. But it's Monday morning. It's time to go back to work. Y'all ready? All right. So today's lesson is about stability. Okay. It was one of the topics last week when I asked what you guys wanted to talk about, and stability was one of the topics. And so let's talk about it. The first thing to remember is anything that you are thinking about is what you are creating. And so what you are creating is expanding by your thoughts, by your actions. And so if, let's say, you register that you need stability, if you are needing something, then you are in a position of lack with it, which means that you feel like you don't have it. So the more unstable you feel, the more unstable you really become, because you feel unstable. And so if this is the law and this is how it works, and if you feel one kind of way and you keep feeling that way, you get more of that. What if we change the position of what we were feeling? And if it's true that instability only gets you more instability, then what does feeling stable actually do? When we feel like things are good, things are solid, everything's working according to plan, everything is okay, my finances are well, my emotions are well, my friends are well, my family is well. When we feel like everything is well and in order, then it tends to be well and in order. Even if it isn't perfect, it feels better to feel better about things than it does to have angst and anxiety about any subject. So when I start to think about stability, I start to think about foundation. What is the foundation around any given subject that you might feel unstable about? And so let's say if it were a relationship or a marriage, at the core, it's the foundation of that thing that makes it either a stable success or an unstable situation, okay? Well, in that situation, you have to know what you put into the foundation, right? And so when you are solid on what you have poured into the foundation and you know that it is solid, then you don't worry the same. Have you ever seen concrete laid down? Well, I recently, a couple summers ago, watched a few different houses replace their concrete. And I saw a few people do it different, okay? Well, the consistent thing was that underneath the concrete, although it looks like the most solid thing there is, when laid properly, concrete has first rocks, gravel, rocks, big rocks, chunks of rocks, rocks underneath. On top of the rocks, there is a grate, a metal grate that goes over the rocks. And then they lay the cement on top of all of that. And so when we are thinking about the foundation of our relationships, are they that solid? What's underneath the concrete? Did you put down some rocks and some grate and then pour your cement? Have you built this relationship up? Have you built it from a solid ground? Or did you just take off and go, oh, I think it's cement, but it could be quicksand. What could it be? What could your relationship foundation really be? But in order to fix it, here's where the trick comes in. You got to be honest about what you have laid as the foundation of these things. If you are worried about your own personal and financial stability, the truth has to come in where you deal with what it is that you have laid as the foundation. Are you saving money or are you spending every chance you get? What is the foundation of your savings? Do you have a structure for it? Does it automatically withdraw from your account? Do you pay yourself first? Do you do like Coach Mo and stash money in a drawer and put money in an envelope and have money all over the place so that you know that if you need some cash, you got some? That's one of my forms of saving, and it lets me know that I always have money. I have a $100 bill in my purse at all times. My financial blueprint feels solid. And so when you add from that perspective, now the more things that you add to it are just additional layers to provide additional stability. But the reason that I hide money around the house, and I don't know that I'm hiding it necessarily because I'm the only one who lives here, but when I stash, let's call it stashing, it lets me know that regardless of what's in the bank, or regardless of what's in that account, or regardless of what's in the PayPal, or regardless of what's everywhere else that I might have money, my feeling is always that I know that I have more than enough because I haven't had to go in any of my stashes and look for money. And so if I know that there is more than enough and I feel like there's more than enough, I don't need to go around and count, make sure that it's still there. But when we start to feel unstable in our finances, we start these mental calculations. Well, I got this over here and this over here, and I got to pay this and I got to do that. And so what's your feeling? Your feeling is a feeling of lack, a feeling of not having enough. And so what are some things that you can do to help yourself feel more stable? Before we get to that, let's talk about work for a moment. Many of you go to work every day, hoping and praying that they'll continue to pay your bills because you don't feel solid and stable in your position. You don't feel like you are certain that you're even going to have a job some days. And so the foundation of how you go to work for your livelihood sometimes functions from a state of lack. When that happens, your paycheck seems to not be long enough. You seem to have more money, more month than you do money, right? All of these things come from the same place, from the same foundation of lack. If you feel like you're not stable, then your position will be the first one to be eliminated. If you feel uncertain about your wanting to even be at this job, then you are vibrating in a position of lack, which could send that job right on out the window, which could send that spouse, that mate, that relationship right out the window. And so what is the common denominator between all these things? You. It's how you feel and what you put into something that makes the difference for what the outcome is going to be. And so having more than enough and believing in the foundation of things is how you set yourself up for the more, how to receive more, because if we're not thinking on the side of lack, what's on the other side? Abundance. And so if we are thinking and processing abundance and ways to have more, if we're thinking about that, and more importantly, already feeling like we have more, if that's happening in us at the purest point of what we're trying to attract, then we're going to create more and more and more of that. And so what are some things that you can do? First, recognize where you are, right? We have to first be willing to analyze our position. This is the part that most people don't want to do because you have to get honest and real with you, right? I'm not there when you do that. And so this isn't about, oh, I don't want to deal with that because of Coach Mo. No, it's nothing to do with me. But you have to be honest about where you are with your finances, where you are with your emotional state. Do you feel unstable first within yourself? Do you feel that you bring stability to the situations that you participate in? Or do you bring instability? What role are you playing in this game of your life. The next thing that you have to do is be willing to change. Be willing to change or modify your behaviors. Let's say if it's financial and you're not peeling off money off the top to stash or to save, if you're not creating better habits, if you're not choosing to leave that $100 in your wallet instead of spending it every time you run out of other cash. These are things that you do that make the difference of your foundation, that make the difference of your level of stability. And so sometimes we get to feeling like these things are out of our control. And the truth is, they're all within our control. The control of our thoughts, but what are you thinking? Which brings me to my next point. Stability is a feeling. And from the feeling, you create results and reality. But stability is first a feeling, and so is instability. And so if you wake up feeling like things are not okay, then this day is going to present you with some challenges. If you wake up worried and doubtful about the outcome of future events, you're going to have some worry and some doubt as those future events likely go the way you don't want them to go. And so understanding how important it is to control your thoughts so that you control your feelings, that is where this foundation of the feeling of stability versus instability sets into place. And so I know that you want some more things to happen and you desire some greater experiences in your life. But those things are only going to come when you choose to make decisions that create stability. Now, you could change and do 2 or 3 different things today to make your situation more stable. I'm not talking about the people outside of you. I'm talking about you. What could you do for you to make your situation that you know that it's more stable? What could you start to prepare today to make next week or next month even feel even more stable? What can you set aside? What can you make a better decision about? What words can you use to be more clear with others to create the points of stability that you truly desire in your life? What if the first step that maybe you needed to take was to be open and honest with someone and say, you know what? I ain't got it together. I don't feel stable. Things don't feel right. Things aren't going according to plan. And I need help. Sometimes you can't do it by yourself. Sometimes you can't reverse this thing by yourself. But I live to let you know that help ain't bad. Help don't hurt. I've had 3 new clients in these red chairs this weekend. Every time they left smiling. And so it doesn't hurt. Getting help and recognizing that you might be stuck somewhere that you need to get yourself out of in order to be stable, let alone feel stable. I can help, right? I live because I can help. And so if you are a person who can hear my voice and feel like you need a help, please find me and please find this chair, because help is available to help you reset everything. This is what I do. There's no job too big or too small. If it's your life that's on the line, we can change that. But you have to be willing and open to receive help in order for it to work. And so once you assess your feelings and you are willing to change, then what do? You start the process to changing. And when you actually start the process to changing and you start doing things and stepping in the direction of things to change, then the things that you need appear to just fall into your lap. They just come to you. You're on an elevator and you meet someone you need to know. You're at Starbucks and you run into someone who can help you. You're here and this happens. You're there and this happens. It seems like miracles are just unfolding around you. But you've got to be willing to do those first 2 things first. Assess where you are, realize what may need to change, be willing to change, and then move into action on the changes that is required in order for you to be, do, or have whatever it is that you want. And so I want to remind you today that it's not far outside your reach. It's not even as far outside your reach as you think that it is. But I need to let you know that you cannot keep doing the same things that you've been doing and create any different result than the one that you've been seeing. And so if you want something different and you want your stability factor to increase, and you want your finances to be solid, you want your relationships to be solid, you want your relationship with self to feel better and be solid, there might be some changes that you have to make. There might be some ways that you need to see life and do things different in order to get those different results. But if you've tried on your own and it hasn't worked or isn't working, please find the lady on the other side of this camera, because I know I can help and you can stop wasting time. So let's stop wasting time. If this is the season for you to find yourself in this red chair, please do so. It is available to you. That is why I live. That is why I do what I do. And I'm even more passionate about it the more new clients that enter my space, because it works. And I'm certain that it does. So if instability is where you are, find yourself stable where first? In your mind. And then in your feelings. And from your feelings, move to a position to put those things in order the way that they should be. Not from a position of lack, but clear on the other side from a position of abundance. Have a great day, everybody. It's Monday. Start this week off with a bang. Make it do what you want it to do. It's your life, right? Have a great one.